More than an hour. You must have a lot of questions.
Hi everyone, Mirna here. I'm with Mindalia TV, and in the name of all our team, we want to welcome you to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people all over the world are going to be gathering to take a look and hear the interviews and talks organized by Mindalia TV. Tonight, our dear Angel Ribo, whom is a philanthropist, CEO, coach, and entrepreneur, is going to be conducting an interview to Frederick Dodson. Frederick Dodson is an amazing person. He is a conscious researcher, a success coach, and he has written more than 24 books, some of them translated into 7 languages. Right before starting, I want to let you know that if you want to help other people just like you take advantage of the knowledge that we're going to be sharing today, you can do something very simple, which is just clicking down below, giving us a like, or leaving a positive message down this screen. And also, if you want to participate, we're going to be having a chat that is an active chat as long as we are still live streaming. We only ask you to please follow the following format. Write the word question and then write down the place where you're watching us from. And then you can just give us the question that you want Frederick Dodson to be answering today. Without further ado and without any delays, we want to welcome our dear Angel and Mr. Frederick Dodson. The screen is yours, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mirna. Today we are, good night, good morning, good evening, everybody. Tonight we are extremely blessed, and I'm super excited to have Frederick Dodson with us. Hey, Frederick, how are you?
Nice to meet you, Angel. I'm great, thank you. I'm fantastic.
Awesome.
I'm at a very good time in my life. How are you, by the way? It's been a long time since we've met, actually.
Exactly. It's been like a couple of, maybe 1.5 years since we last met in Maui in one of your retreats. So yeah, everything is going very well. And
yeah, it looks like
it. Thank you very much. So yeah, absolutely. So so that so our audience knows what's going to happen today. So basically, we're going to be interviewing Fred Dodson for about 45 minutes, and then everybody is extremely welcome to drop their questions on our chat box. This is being broadcasted live through using Hangouts through YouTube, and all of our audience worldwide is able to watch this video. So we're going to start with a very simple question, Fred. What is that thing that are you most passionate about?
Well, to be honest, you'd expect me to say my topics and my research and all, but at the moment it's actually tennis. I spend a lot of time on the tennis court because it actually teaches me everything that I teach the people out there. It teaches me presence, it teaches me intention, it teaches me calm, it teaches me how to deal with stress, how to deal with pressure. Am I still there?
You are.
Pressure such as this pressure right here of my phone falling down mid-session.
No worries. We are here for
you.
You
still see me?
We see your picture, but not live video. So we're sure it's going to come back.
That.
Awesome.
There we go.
Excellent.
So that's what I'm most passionate about these days. I'm passionate about playing tennis.
I love the analogy that you are making between what what people know about you or knows you about, and what you're actually doing and learning tennis or improving your tennis skills. So that's good.
That's what a teacher of this kind of stuff actually does in his private life, you see.
Excellent. So let's just start with presence. Presence is it's an easy word to say, but it's not that easy to achieve. At least, I think that you help a lot of people to be present, right? Why is presence so important in someone's life, Fred?
Well, my work is to help people achieve what they want to achieve. And that's not going to work if they're not present. Why? Because if you're not present, if you're not happy with what is going on now, if you're not a success today, you're not going to be a success in the future, because your future is created by the seeds you plant today, not the seeds you plant tomorrow, not the things you achieve tomorrow. So you look at the day not by what you reap, but by what you sow, by what you put out. What I'm putting out today, those are my results tomorrow. And that's one of the reasons it's important to be present and not split between now I'm in lack and I need this and that and want that. And in the future, I'm going to manifest something and my life is going to be great. As we all know, as we grow older especially, life is never great in the future. Either it's great today or it's not great at all. That's why one of my biggest sayings is either you're that success that you always wanted to be today, or you're not that success. Whatever you do and feel and initiate today is what creates your future. That's one reason presence is important. Another reason presence is important is because it calms the mind. The mind, an overactive, turbulent mind, is all about what happened in the past or what might happen, to worry about what might happen in the future. And if you can be fully present, then nothing is going to get you out of your calm. Like we just saw, we had difficulties setting this session up, but if we stay calm and present with what's going on right now, there's no worry about, is this session going to work out and what's going to happen and are the people going to leave and whatever. It's just staying present with what's going on. And if you're present, you'll see there's no problem. If you're in the now, there is no problem. All problems are actually projections into the past or the future, in my view.
You touched on a very interesting subject about seeds. You mentioned the word seeds a couple of times, like, you're planting seeds today. What happens with the seeds that you planted yesterday then? It means that actually you can stop those seeds growing, being present. I don't know if I make myself clear.
Yes. Your question refers to, if I'm present now, does that deactivate my subconscious? If I'm conscious now, yes, it does deactivate the subconscious. So if you don't want your subconscious running your life because your subconscious is badly programmed, then you especially want to be present. However, if your subconscious is well programmed, then you want it to run your life. Good point.
Awesome. So then, how can we master our subconscious programming? Is there something that we can do?
Well, it's misprogrammed, and with many people, not with all people. Some people are raised in just the right way and taught by their parents just the right things, and their life just goes so smoothly, and everything falls into the lap, but that's very rare. It's rare that you're well programmed. So how did I reprogram my subconscious? I did so by writing down the thoughts I have, writing down the beliefs I have, becoming aware of my misemotions, allowing my bad emotions to lead me to bad thoughts, and exchanging them with ideas, concepts, views of life that are preferable. And I'll say this as a point of great usefulness in this interview. The subconscious programs that most dominate your life are thoughts that begin with I am and life is. So a good thing that any listener here could do is make a list of your thoughts that you have that begin with I am and life is. Life is like this, life is like that, I am like this and like that. And as you list those, you pretty much see the contents of your subconscious that is running your entire life, the filter through which you experience life. And if you don't like some of those thoughts, then you replace them with thoughts you do like. And then once you know which programming you would like, okay, you endeavor to program yourself with these new thoughts. And that can take a while. That can take some feeling, some repetition, some affirmation, some reminders, and especially some action. You take action in order to show that you believe in these new thoughts. So it's a whole process that I describe in my books and my seminars, but that's the basics of it, because if your subconscious is well programmed, nothing's going to stop you. You're going to be unstoppable. If you can reprogram what you are programmed with, what you yourself have programmed yourself with, you're going to be unstoppable, and you'll enter a momentum where one good thing after another happens. And that's the way it's been for me in the last 10 years. It's just been almost all good. It's possible to live that way. My health has been good. My relationships have been the way I want. My finances have been perfect because I took the time and effort 10 years ago to radically reprogram who I think I am and what I think life is.
Is that the basis of what you typically teach your clients, the people that you serve?
That's the shortcut, yes.
That's the shortcut.
That's why I got right to it. That's the basis of what I actually teach.
Why are we not, why most of the people is not, rightfully programmed? Their subconscious is not rightfully programmed. What do we do? What you mentioned our parents. What do we typically as a society do that, we tend not to program our kids' subconscious properly?
Well, this planet is kind of it's a challenging planet. You come here and you don't know where you're from. Really, you don't know what happened before that. You don't know who you are, and nor do the people who are educating and raising you. That's the funny part. Okay, we look up to them thinking they have the answers, but they don't know either because they were born in the same way. And that's the whole challenge here on this planet, being 50% good things, 50% bad things, a balance, And there's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of deliberate manipulation. So the main factor that creates the change is realizing that you do not have to buy into what you were taught, that you do not just have to take all the thoughts from the generations before and before and before. Some of them are good, some of them are useful, but you don't have to take the ones that are not useful. You can take the ones that work and discard the ones that don't work. And the problem is that as children, we don't choose. We just, like a sponge, take up whatever we're told. We're trusting and naive. We come from the heart and we just trust whatever they say must be true. If they say I'm a failure at school, then that must be true because I love them. I look up to them, So that's the whole problem. And then by the time you reach 20, you'll be fully programmed, and then it can take some time to reprogram yourself. And many people only start to realize who they actually are by the time they're 40, unfortunately. They start to get a hang of how reality works. But you don't have to wait that long. You can already start quite early with programming yourself by choosing your own thoughts, your own values, thinking about values, about beliefs, about thoughts, about what you dedicate your attention to, and determine that by yourself instead of having everything be determined by television and parents and school and internet and what friends say.
Good to school.
Yes.
No, go ahead.
It's a matter of listening to your heart.
When we are kids, actually, if you go to college until 22, 23, at least, we are on a school system, some sort of school system. Could we define, or could we have a different school system that would actually help us to have the right programming?
We somewhere along the way, we need a radically different school system. Absolutely. Starting with the fact that first we need to learn how to think rather than being told what to think. We don't even start with the basic lesson of how to direct your own attention. Instead, they tell us where to direct attention. Just starting with that, from the very beginning, it's flawed. The whole idea is bizarre. Never once did a teacher give a lesson on how to think or how to visualize or how to direct my attention. Instead, it was, okay, please look at this, please think this, please look at that. This is what happened there. This is how things are. An already established system that didn't work much in the past. Otherwise, the world would look different. And it's just, it's something that somewhere along the way we're going to change. We're going to change it to more self-determined thought and learning how to feel and learning how to use the inherent abilities that we have. That's why I'm in the business I am, because this schooling is lacking, and that's why I can make so much money off of it.
That's good. I understand.
I'm lucky. Yeah, I'm lucky that the school system is so horrible.
Exactly. So you mean you literally have like clients, or you help people of all ages?
Adults.
Adults. Okay.
Yes.
So then, this is an exciting, a common topic. The school, because again, we spend so much money, so much investment in time, right? I mean, I myself have 3 kids, and they spend every day 8-9 hours, listening to someone talk to them every single day. So I guess there would be something. Has any of your books, because you mentioned 24 books, was it right, the number of books you've written already?
I've not addressed the subject of schooling that much, but it's implied in what I teach. For example, of what benefit is it to me if I listen to the teacher talk all day? That's why in my seminars, I have the students do more than me, because it's not of benefit to them if they just listen to me talk. It's of benefit to them if they train their abilities. That's why many people who come out of school can't even talk properly. They can't even communicate properly because they've been sitting there for years just listening to somebody talk. Wouldn't it be nice if everybody came out of school able to hold speeches and communicate and express themselves? That would be great. Then they would be empowered human beings.
Talking about books, and 24 books is a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. Let me put it this way. I would like you to share with the audience how did these books come up on your mind, on your hand when you wrote them, and on your mind.
Well, it's looking for certain books, then not finding them, and then having to take responsibility and write them myself. So, I'm looking, I'm always curious. And if I don't find what satisfies me, that's a sign. If I'm dissatisfied, it's a sign I got to do it myself. If I'm not going to do it, who's going to do it?
Mindalia TV has a very diverse audience. Is there a particular book that you would like to recommend among all of the ones that you have already published? Is there one that you would like to recommend maybe to someone that is starting or would like to know more about what you just started to share with us today?
If you're into business stuff, then read the book Success Attracts Success. If you're more into spiritual stuff, read Levels of Energy. And if you're into far out stuff, into manifesting your preferred reality, read Parallel Universes of Self. So there you go. Success Attracts Success, Parallel Universes of Self, and Levels of Energy.
Are you writing more books, or have you already written more books that you still haven't published?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's just the problem is I don't want to publish too much, so I stop myself. It's a drive. Once you found your purpose or passion in life, you're driven to produce and create all the time. And I actually have to put brakes on that because it gets too much, How much more do people need? I've already said everything I need to.
When people come to you and they ask you to, for support, personal support from you, like to be coached, is there one particular subject which is more common? People are more or that they want to fix more often in their lives or find solutions or results in their lives?
Number one is money. Number 2 is love or relationship. Number 3 is health. Those are the main ones.
Do those 3 have something in common when you help them kind of find results, change that in someone else's life?
Yes, all 3 are the same topic, essentially. All 3 are about allowing abundance into your life. Abundance, be it abundance of health or of love or of money, and all 3 are connected to confidence, faith, belief, integrity, love, kindness. Everything's the same topic. Every topic is energy, energy as expressed in love, enthusiasm. If I'm enthusiastic and loving, that'll make me money because I love my customers. That'll also bring me better health because it makes my body feel better, and it'll attract the right partner. So essentially, all these topics are the same topic.
And they are all related to energy, you said.
Yes.
So we are beings of energy?
Yes.
What I'm sure you have asked yourself this question a lot of times. So what are we doing here in this planet?
Maybe we're imprisoned. No, seriously. To me, it's a training. It's like a training. It's a free will planet in my view, okay, in my experience. I may be wrong, but to me, it's a free will planet that we choose in order to experience this dense reality, choose between good and not so good, and then either ascend or descend even more. It's like by your choice, you learn how your choices have certain consequences. And the more bad choices you make, the more you descend, the harder it is to get back out. And then you ascend again, then you make another mistake and descend again. It's like a game somehow, a game with point system and reward system. And you just learn how to make choices. You learn the influence of your mind. You learn the influence of your spirit. And if it weren't a little bit difficult, just a little, it wouldn't create any growth and it wouldn't be that much fun. You go into a game and you want to be challenged in the game. So that's a good attitude to have toward life, that difficulty helps you as a challenge. It helps you to grow and to figure out how it works and how to solve it. We love solving issues and solving problems. We love that. And when people say to me, oh, I don't want any more difficulties in my life, I'm so sick of this, they've forgotten that that's the point of the game, to figure out how it works. I think the meaning of life is to figure out what the meaning of life is.
So to be aware, that we are aware of that answer.
The meaning of life is to become aware of the meaning of life.
Excellent.
And it's very much connected to love, to discovering love, rediscovering love.
Can you elaborate a little bit more? Could you elaborate a little bit more about this, please? The idea of love?
Yeah, it's perhaps, I don't know the scenario, but perhaps we weren't that loving, so we were sent to Earth to figure it out. That's what I meant by prison,
Yeah, I understood that. And is there anybody running the game?
Running the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. Yes, definitely.
All right. So we are like the characters of the game. Can we make like an analogy with a video game, maybe?
Yes, we're the characters, but we seek to become the players. So rather than just being pawns, we seek to become players. And there's many ways it can be played. You can play it lovingly, or you can play it negatively, criminally, And I think if you play it very lovingly and discover love, you finally break out of the game. That's a good analogy, actually. Whether it's true or not, that's a very good analogy, okay? Because that inspires people to deepen their sense of love. Love is a great, great power that heals all kinds of stuff. That's one conclusion I've come to in 25 years of coaching.
And that entity that is running the game, is that entity the one that sent us to play the game?
You ask me things I don't know for sure. I can only speculate.
No, but I love you know, I'm sure that you know, our audience will love to know your answer, Fred. I know you're speculating.
I think there's an original source that created us, and this planet and thousands of other planets and civilizations, and there's all kinds of dimensions out there, and entities and angels and extraterrestrials and whatnot. I think all of that exists somehow, but I don't focus on that too much. I focus on making the best of my life, because people get lost in all these theories and speculation. You know, who's running the world and who's behind this. What's the use? What's the use? I got to focus on, you can start speculating about that once you get your own life in order. That's what I say. You know, get your bank account full, regain full health, get great relationships, great business, whatever you want. And then you can start expanding your awareness to what else is going on. And I'd say that I'd say that the purpose of this is to figure out how the game works so that you can leave it.
Okay, so you mentioned the three main areas in which you are typically asked when someone wants to be helped, and you help mainly on those three areas. If you know, today, if we let's try to help our audience. You know, they might face different kinds of issues and problems. Could we like give them a very, you know, what would be the advice that you would like to give them in general? Some, you know, a few easy steps that they can start taking today, so they could, you know, they could be on the right way, the right path to fix those issues.
The first step is always shifting from the stuff you don't want to the stuff you want. That is defining, writing down, thinking, or speaking what exactly you want. That's always the first step in anything. If you're not aware of what you want, it's difficult to follow that path. If you're only aware of the problems and the things that happened in the past, and if your awareness keeps going back to those things, you're stuck in them. You got to find a way to bring your awareness somewhere else than the past, somewhere else than problems, away from problems to what it is you really, really want regarding your health, you want regarding your money, you want regarding anything. And then regarding money, the best advice is that you basically, money is a measurement system for how much value you are to your fellow humans. That's my money advice. Money is a measurement system of how much value you are to other humans. So if you don't have value, if you don't have money, then ask yourself how you could be of more value. And don't pretend that you are of value but are not making money. Okay? It's up to other people, the people who give you money, to decide how much value you are. It's up to them. They show you that by the money they give you. And regarding health, health is an easy thing. Don't put too much attention on your body. Too much attention on the body as if you were the body often creates bad health. People who are constantly worried about how they look and feel and what's going on in their body often fall ill and even more ill. So don't put too much attention on the body. You are not the body. Realizing I am spirit will improve your health. I am energy. And, you know, you take care of the basics, such as good nutrition and full sleep, and thinking well of yourself, choosing health thoughts, and that should be enough. It's not a big deal. It's not rocket science. You have to consider that your body grew all by itself. Your fingers grew by itself. Your breathing by itself. All of that is happening effortlessly. That means that health is a natural, effortless thing. And all of these constructs and complications over health are actually creating illness. If you look at nature, everything grows and stays healthy if it's not intervened in, not if it's intervened in. Okay, so health is connected to effortlessness in life, to ease and smoothness. Money is connected to service, and good relationships are connected to being happy with yourself and alone, being completely fulfilled by yourself and alone, by which you will attract somebody that resonates with that. You'll become more attractive if you can be happy with who you are.
Excellent. I'm sure the Mindalia TV audience will really appreciate your advice. I would like to go back to one of the books that you mentioned before, and you recommended our audience to start. One of them was The Parallel Universe of Self. I have, been lucky to hear to the audiobook many times. I would like to ask you to share with the audience why did you give that name to that book, and what does that represent in our lives? Those parallel universes of self, do they really exist?
Well, you can see it as a reality, such as some people in physics do, or you can use it as an analogy. It also works well as an analogy, even if you don't believe the physics behind it. You make many choices every day, and each choice puts you on another timeline, on another path, and you can change those choices, and you can choose which choice might put me on that path, and how does this choice feel. And in that book, I just described that there's many different versions of you. There's successful versions of you, unsuccessful versions of you. And just knowing that, you try to be your best version from moment to moment and day to day. You ask yourself, what is the version of me that corresponds to all these positive events? So if I want to be rich, what is the version of me that corresponds to that? Well, it's the version of me that might dress up, for example, for a change. And it's the idea that you attract into your life, not according to the things you want, but according to who you are and who the world thinks you are. So now the world thinks you're this awesome host, okay? And
thank you.
That's what you are. That's what you are, But I bet 10 years ago, you didn't think so. You didn't think you were that. And then you thought you were, and now others think you are. You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Thank you. Does that mean that if we can change timelines this way so easily, and that's actually what we do every day with our choices? Can we actually change something in the past that would have a consequence in the present? Or
well, that's pretty advanced thinking, and I don't go into that much because it's too much for people. It sounds bizarre, and many people use it in a delusional way. I had this student recently. He said he wants to time travel back to a senior's high school class so that he can make up for something that went wrong. And that's a delusional way of applying this idea, which I write about in the book. The proper way to apply it is to rewrite or rethink negative events that happened in the past so that they feel like you want them to feel in the present, because in reality, there is no past. What you're focused on in your mind is what you feel right now. So as you rewrite traumatic and horrible events, as you focus on good memories in the past, you rewire yourself. Now, the reason I write that is because there's this belief in the world that by focusing on traumatic and negative memories, your life is going to get better. That's the basis of therapy and so much self-improvement. But I found that that's not true. I found that too much focus on negative past events actually weakens your body and weakens yourself, so that any person who spent a couple of years in therapy, they're a total mess. And we often see that, they're like, I'm in therapy right now, and we've been working on my daddy issues for the last 3 years now, and I think I'm making progress. But you don't really, the reason therapy takes 7, 10, 15 years is because it's not progress. It's just repeating negative events over and over again. So what you can do is either focus on good memories that will strengthen you, remember good moments, big or small, in your life, or you can take negative memories and rewrite them or rewire them the way you'd prefer them so that you feel well in the now, regardless of whether they're true or not. Because fact is, they're not true right now. Right now is right now, and that's the only thing that's real and true. It's the only thing you perceive. So it doesn't really matter what you think about the past. Answer, yes.
Excellent. When you, in the other book, Success Attracts Success, and you mentioned before that abundance is related to the value that we are able to provide to the rest of the world. In that book, what is that that secret that you actually teach or share about being successful?
Well, it's so much really, but it's on the one hand, you want to follow what feels good to you. That's one side of it. And on the other hand, you also want to have the willpower, the strength of focus to also be able to do jobs that are more difficult. So it's a two-forked approach. You follow that which excites you and which is fun for you, while also accepting that you'll give yourself a nudge and focus on things that others are too lazy to do. So I'd say it's about 70% doing what's fun and 30% doing what's not so much fun, while others are simply too lazy to set up. And you can do that through the power of your will, through the power of your focus. That's a summary of that book. Because a lot of things, when I've written these 24 books and people ask me, how could you do it? Well, I start with a topic I love, because if I don't love it, I don't have the energy to see it through. I don't have the energy or interest to complete the subject. But then I write and write and write, and I come upon a block and I write about something that's not so much fun to write. That's the moment I have to activate my will and get it done anyway. And you see my facial expression when I say that, get it done anyway. So it's a mix of fun and focus.
How did success? How did this career of yours start? I mean, do we have to go to your childhood? Were you a teenager? Were you an adult? When did your journey start, Fred?
I had a lot of experiences in childhood that I couldn't explain. And then my parents couldn't explain them. My teachers couldn't explain them. So I started reading up, and I'd leave my body at night. And I'd listen in on conversations of my parents. And the next morning, I'd tell my parents what they talked about, and they'd be shocked, I'd have different weird entities harassing me at night. I'd see angels at night. I'd travel to other planets at night. And also in the daytime, weird things happening, and all these magical experiences, amazing experiences. Nobody could tell me what they were. And that's a disappointment, if nobody can tell you. So you read and read and read and read and read. And then finally, you're still not satisfied. So you write as best you can.
You said that you have been, let's say, on the success path for the last 10 years. Could you share with us some anecdotes, some funny stories that you have been able, of people that you have been able to help? Some story that you would like to share with us?
There's so many, really, what to choose from. Yeah, I've not been speaking in specific stories. I've been speaking in principles, because there's so many specific stories. Well, there are a few amazing stories, okay, such as I helped a guy get out of prison, actually, okay, through he wrote himself out of prison. I taught him, for some reason, he had internet access once a week, and we wrote back and forth. And he had another several years to go, and then he got out within about 3 months. And I helped him to write every single day as if he were out of prison. And that was just beautiful. Okay. He was to feel out of prison. He was no longer to talk about prison, no longer to focus on prison guards. He was to absolutely and radically feel himself no longer in prison. It's already over. And he did that for months with great discipline. Okay. And then he added some of his own stuff to it. He added prayer to it and the technique that I taught him, which is scripting. And within a few months, he got out. And such stories, I have piles of them, piles. Someday I'll publish them all. Okay. Miraculous events. And people always say, well, it might have happened anyway. But no, some of these things might not have happened anyway. I've seen amazing things. I've seen actually the biggest thing of 2017 was a healing of cancer, terminal cancer, actually. And I don't talk about stuff like that much because people are outraged, you know, how can you say that, giving people hope, and they're so bitter. But I traveled, this guy had booked the best doctor, and it wasn't working. The chemotherapy was not working and nothing was working. And he had about 3 months to live, you know, 3-4 months to live. So they often come to me as a last resort. So I arrived there and he was in shambles. His marriage was in shambles. And he was so frustrated. And it took several weeks of work with him, just one-on-one. Fortunately, he's very rich and he could afford it, you know. But it took several weeks of work and very, very intense focus, very, very intense, to get him stabilized. And then he goes back to the doctor, and his blood levels have improved and his numbers have improved. So that gave him inspiration to work more. So I said, okay, I'm going to leave now. And I want you to work on these things that we've studied yourself. You do this, 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 and this, okay? And then things improved more, and then he could go out again and walk around again and so forth. And he's still on the path now, by the way. He's still improving, okay? And it's still better. And he was supposed to have died last year, but he's still up and about, and he's happy, and he's doing well. Because cancer is related to no longer caring about life, actually, no longer having goals. So we had to teach him to care about life again. Why to care about life? What do you actually want from life? Is it worth it to stay here? That's what these issues are about. So that's 2 stories right there.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. You mentioned before that you still have some other books to come. Would there be a way that because we have very different age groups, and we have actually followers in almost all over the world, would you say that there is certain cultures, certain societies, certain parts of the world that they do a better job with their subconscious programming, with their idea of success than others?
Yes, absolutely. That's the whole cause why there's poverty in some places and not in others. It's because of the beliefs, the cultural beliefs implanted from early on. Absolutely. That's why look at North Korea, South Korea.
Yeah.
One is in poverty and the other isn't. You'd think it's the same culture, but they actually grow up in very different beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yes. It's all about what you teach your children.
Awesome. Hey, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the questions of our audience. So,
well, thank you for all the interesting questions. Thank you very much.
No, please, thank you. Thank you very much. It's really fascinating to be able to share some time with you and to be able to just share some thoughts and learn from you. So just give me a second and we'll see what our audience has for us today. First one, thank you, exactly. So the first one is, how can we once reprogram positively interact with other people that are still running all negative programs?
Compassion.
Okay.
Because you can't really force them to change. It's a waste of energy, you know. And we all know that trying to get others to change, you can be a good example and you can have a good presence, a compassionate and helpful presence. You know, you don't have to do it for them. You don't have to force them to change, try to get them to change, but it helps them the most if you have improved yourself to a point where just your presence is helpful to those.
Excellent. Next question. Is TV and other media programming us?
Excuse me?
Is TV, television, or other media programming us?
Yes, completely and totally. The subconscious works in images, and that's all TV and cinema is. It's images connected to sound, music, which goes even deeper into the emotions. So what you're basically doing is you're collecting somebody else's thoughts. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing if it's good thoughts, you know, but I prefer choosing my own thoughts most of the time. I've reduced TV or movie watching to about once a month. I'll watch about one movie a month, and even those movies are well chosen. My wife, she loves to watch horror movies, and I ask her why. Why do you want to give yourself such garbage thoughts? You know, and she insists. Say, okay, suit yourself. You know, I'm not going to do that with you. If you want to watch a movie with, I'll do it maybe once a year. I'll watch a horror movie, but I'll sit there and think, why? Why? For what? You know, for what? So absolutely, it's a programming device, and you want to use it consciously. If you use it consciously, then you choose nice things to program yourself with.
Next question. How young can we start programming our kids to have an emotionally healthy program?
I don't do this with kids because I prefer a hands-off approach so that they can develop their own programs and their own conclusions and own thoughts. So with kids, I wouldn't influence that much. They copy you. They copy you. So if you want to program your kids properly, it's about who you are in front of them. It's about the example that you set. They're going to copy what you say, what you feel, what you do. They're just going to imitate it up until the age of 5. So from 1 to 5, you want to be aware of how you behave in front of them. Moreover, you want to reward good behavior and don't give too much attention to bad behavior. Because if you give attention to their bad behavior, they're going to repeat bad behavior because it gets them attention.
Next question. Do you think that programming is only imprinted by verbal communication, or is there also vibrational?
It's all vibrational. Even verbal is vibrational. So it's invisible and visible. I guess that's the question. It's by words, sounds, images, and by energies. So I've done this, I've demonstrated this in my seminars many times. We shoot each other different energies, and people can feel that. It has an effect.
Excellent. Next one. Do you see a way of living in a system in which we consciously program our children to live according to their gifts and purpose?
Do I see that system coming?
Yes.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm working for. We're working on it. Give us a few more decades, okay?
Awesome. Do you believe in reincarnation?
Not in the traditional sense, but in an optional sense. So traditionally, they say that you have to reincarnate or you always reincarnate, but that's an option. And in my opinion, in my research, that's an option if you didn't do well, if you didn't do what you really wanted on Earth. It's you can come back and try it again. but that's not generally what you have to do. You can ascend elsewhere, you can descend, you can come back here, you can incarnate into another dimension. There's many options, and the idea of reincarnation is a little bit too limited for me.
All right. Do you think that issues such as obesity can be the result of a poor programming?
Absolutely, totally. It's a mixture of bad self-image, seeing oneself badly, addiction to foods, and no longer enjoying physical reality. I mean, what do you get if you sit in front of a screen all day instead of being out playing, chopping wood or whatever, playing soccer? What do you get? You're just in front of a screen all day, munching food and thinking badly about yourself and then feeling guilty about the food. It's bad programming. It's all bad programming. Yes, all of it. Everything in life is bad programming.
All right, next question. Do you see a better awakening in the younger generations?
I hope so. Yeah, I see that consciousness is slowly and gradually going up. That is true. Slowly and gradually, consciousness is going up. But life is still very much a mix of good and bad. It's just slowly ascending. So the next generation, I don't know. I know that consciousness is going up, but I don't know what the next generation will be like. I'm not sure because we spend too much time glued to screens. It's a bit of an issue. Too much time in virtual reality. Something to solve.
Mhm.
I'm hoping people will get tired of it and seek to go back into physical reality again, away from virtual reality, because it's become too much. Walking around, everybody's looking into a screen rather than the other person, or the nature.
Next question. About your experiences when you were younger, the ones that you shared with us briefly. Were these experiences scary? Did you ever wish not having those abilities?
Yes, I actually stopped them because they're a distraction. And I'm in my early 40s now, and in my early 30s, about 10 years ago, I stopped those experiences because they were a distraction to what I'm supposed to do here on Earth. Even though some of them were very positive and very beautiful and very high states of consciousness, they were nonetheless a distraction. If you're constantly floating in space or wherever, then you wouldn't get all these books done, for example. So that's my job, to be here and here for people.
Excellent. Are there entities other than human involved in our society's development?
On Earth?
It doesn't say.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
I guess.
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure there are. Yes, yes. I'm sure there are. They're not of interest to me, but I'm sure there are.
Okay. Can we program ourselves into being someone completely different, more successful, healthy, and even find love?
Yes, that's the essence of what I say and teach, and written many, many things about, and published many videos about. You can do that. And not only can you do it, I recommend that you do, because as you grow, you're in alignment with the ever expanding and ever growing universe.
One final question. You mentioned before that we are beings of energy. What's the relationship between energy and love?
Love and energy are the things that are absolute in the universe. Everything is relative and changing and changeable, but love and energy are permanent. Awareness is also permanent. Consciousness is permanent. And in that sense, these things are related.
Excellent. And that was the last question, Fred. I would definitely, there's two things, two last questions I would like to ask you. The first one, is there anything specific that you would like to share with our audience, a last thought, a last idea? We know that you are a very, very, very intuitive person, something that comes to your mind right now to share with Mindalia TV's audience tonight.
Yeah, cut yourself some slack. Take it easy. Be kind to yourself, be kind to your fellow humans. The energy of kindness is very, very powerful. We think that kindness is weakness. The opposite is true. We're taught in movies that the kind people and the peaceful people are the weak people. The opposite is true. Kindness and peacefulness will make you invincible and very, very strong. That's my message for today.
Excellent. The last one, obviously, Fred, where can we find you? Where can our audience find you?
Website is realitycreation.org. And from there, you can find my YouTube channel, you can find my Facebook page, and so forth.
Okay, excellent. Well, so it's an understatement to say that it has been a pleasure to be with you tonight. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to see you also again. And thank you for sharing so much of your wisdom and your knowledge with our audience. So
yeah,
thank
awesome.
you very much.
Good questions. Awesome questions. It was very easy and fun for me. I'm glad it worked out with the, even though I'm doing it over my phone. I actually had to bend all the time in order to stay in the camera. So that was funny. Thanks for doing it. And looks great what you're doing. Looks fantastic. How long have you guys been doing this?
Well, we launched the channel in English recently. We started in February, but as you know, Mindalia Television in Spain started 4 years ago. We have more than 10,000 videos and interviews and workshops. Yeah, 10,000. We're growing every single day. We are adding more than 1,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel. We have more than 9 million viewers in the entire world. And 1.3 are about 1.3 million are in the US alone, where we are based. We are, as you know, we are based in the US. Mirna is based in Florida. We are based here in Dallas, in Texas, and we have also a part of our team in California. And we are here to serve you and to serve humankind and the world and help them increase the level of consciousness.
Okay, good, great,
excellent.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the mission of Mindalia TV. So thank you very much for being, bending over all the time. It's been a pleasure. The video has been great. So we've seen you very, very well. And again, to all of our audience worldwide, thank you very much for being here tonight. It's been a pleasure. From Mindalia TV, we hope to see you again on our next interview or workshop tomorrow. Thank you very much.